Habits are such an interesting thing. They are so interesting, and I like to study how habits, and especially habitual thinking, shapes our lives. Usually we think of habits like something that we are consciously building, that we want to try to bring into our lives, something positive. But really, habits is ingrained in almost everything we do and what we think in our daily lives. It's almost a little bit scary to which degree we are ruled and our behavior is ruled by our habits. It starts with the first thing we do when we wake up in the morning. I mean, think about it. What are you doing in the first thing in the morning when you get up out of bed? That's a habit already. The way you move out of bed, you couldn't not do a habit in that moment. Like when you wanted to do it consciously differently, that would be effortful. So you had to do some conscious decision about how you would get up out of bed. And you're not doing that, so that act already is a habit. The way you turn off your alarm, that's a habit. And so all of these actions that we do, we are rather observing. And we can become conscious that it's really just going on, and that it's very effortless if we are just mindful, that it's a flow from moment to moment, that we can just let go of the need to control anything. And we can especially let go of these thoughts that are like worries about, are we doing the right thing right now or with our life, or have we done the right thing in this particular situation that we are thinking about. And really that's what's stressful. If we would just let go, our day-to-day, most of the thing, our day-to-day experience would be guided by all of these habits. And they are not just the small things. They can become apparent even in the situations where we think, okay, this is a situation where I'm certainly not ruled by a habit. I'm interacting with someone, I'm speaking, I'm saying my opinion. But really, is it that way? Are you creating something new? Is it something you consciously have to come up with? Or is it just a habit? And you can discover in most situations, at least that's the way it was for me. Like, I interact with people and I think like, okay, this is so automatic, this reaction. Like what I'm responding, what I'm talking about, what I'm interpreting, even what I'm understanding, what the other person is saying. It's so ingrained in our psyche that it's really an automatic response that just comes up. At least that's the way I discovered recently when I became more and more mindful of my thought process, that it's really just something that we experience. It's not something that we are, in most situations, consciously creating. Of course, there are also situations where we are so far pushed out of our comfort zone and challenged that there are no habits in place that can cover those situations, and we are not having a certain response ready in that particular situation. But how often is that really the case? Consider it time-wise, that's a very short amount of time during the day. It's maybe when your boss asks you a question that you didn't really expect, and that's maybe a little bit outside of your expertise. But that's usually not daily. Like when you are at work, people come to you and ask you things because they know that you are the expert in that particular field. And while the question may be new and a little bit different and you haven't really heard that particular question before, it's somehow your response comes to you. It's not like you are actively having to somehow search within your mind for an answer. Somehow that's all done for you. Your mind connects all the dots, everything you have learned in the past, and then creates your response. It's very beautiful to watch. It's very effortless. These habits extend even beyond what you are really doing daily. Like, for example, making your coffee. That's very easy to see that that's a habit. But you could also say it's a habit how we respond, how we create new answers, how we come to new insights, and how we generate really new information. That's not really something we are doing. It's something that comes to us through our creativity, but really through an act that we don't have to consciously guide. So it's, in a sense, coming from something habitual, something that is really has become the base of our knowledge, and that I find so fascinating. It's a process that you can really trust. And so next time when you feel like, oh, I have so many bad habits, I should change them, I should improve myself, really be grateful for that attitude as well, but also be grateful for all the habits that you have. Because if you wouldn't be having them and they wouldn't be in place, really, you couldn't even get out of bed in the morning. You would struggle to find a solution for the simplest things that you are doing in life. Like, I'm certain you know that situation when, for example, I have my backpack, I have my stuff usually always in the same pockets, in the same areas. I put them there every time. My key card, my keys, my wallet, my headphones, my phone, everything has its place. And it's so beautiful to watch, like how much mental energy is conserved by doing such things. And of course the backpack is just an analogy for our whole life. But when you know exactly where everything is in your backpack, it's always there, and you find it, you have the motions in place. Like when you want to get your headphones, like it's not even, you don't even have to think. It's like they are there, they are always there, until then suddenly they are not. And then maybe you have done something differently, you have put them in another jacket where you never leave them usually. And then like, oh my God, it's so difficult mentally to think about where was this thing that I'm now looking for. It's not that you didn't experience leaving it there, it's just something that didn't register because it wasn't your usual response, or it wasn't your usual behavior. You didn't put them in the place where you expected them. So habits, and as I said, this backpack analogy is just representative of everyday experiences, like all the routines we have. When we have them in place, they free up a lot of mental energy. And so be thankful even for the ones that you dislike, where you think like, okay, I should improve, I should change something about my day-to-day experience. And then do it gradually. Like the most effective way to change habits is to be gentle with yourself and not like turn your life 180 degrees around. It's like tweaking what you do, so you are almost not even registering that something is different. It's like you are all like almost doing the same. When you struggle to exercise, you start with 2 minutes. You start with putting on your exercise clothes maybe the first day, and then you go out when you want to go running. You run 100 meters. If you want to set a long-term habit, a goal, it's not about like achieving some result in the next 1 or 2 weeks, 1 or 2 months, or even 1 or 2 years with some habits. Like if you want to exercise really, you know, okay, now I start this and I'm never gonna stop. this is going to become my habit for life. I'm going to be someone who regularly exercises, for example. And so it's much better to have the long-term vision of any meaningful change, of any meaningful habit you want to build, and imagine what you could reach like in 1 year when you just improve a very tiny bit every day. And then it also becomes clear that you have to start very small if you want to continue to improve for the long run. Like with your running regime, when you start with 5 kilometers the first day, like, where can you extend this to realistically if you want to keep it up? You cannot increase that by 1 kilometer every week for years. That would take too much time, probably, for most people. So start with 100 meters. Next day you can make it 150 and 200, 250. And so gradual increases is really with every habit the way to go. And yeah, just come from a place of appreciating how great really habits are, because they are infused in everything we do, in how you speak with people, in what you respond, in what you do at work, what you do in your free time, how you think, how you feel, how you act. That's all mental habit. And it's something to be grateful for. Otherwise, as I said in the beginning, I think we wouldn't actually get out of bed if we didn't have all of these little habits in place. And while that's true, it's also true that we can be mindful of them, enjoy how they play out in our day when we experience just everything in awareness. And that alone will cure us of our unhelpful habits. We can, by being mindful and present, like observe which habits really fulfill our deepest desires, which help us and which are not helpful to us. And so that's the way to go. Okay, that's so far for this video. I just want to mention I launched a new part on my website where I now think it's a very great offer. I'm going to do hikefulness retreats. That's what I call them, where we go together for a week on a hiking trip, and I will try to transfer my way of being mindful in movement, in the process of hiking day to day, being out, being active, as a counter example for meditation retreats that are usually very sedentary, where you are just sitting all day in front of the teacher and you are learning something, you're hearing talks, and then you are also sitting down while meditating a lot. And I had some of the deepest awakening experiences during my hiking trips. And I think there's something to be said about being very mindful during hiking, because it's something you can do for the whole day and really get deep into the experience, connect deeply, and let go of all egoic mental habits and also our concepts. Because when we are in nature, they drop away a little bit more than when we are in society. And I just want to plan that. So if you're interested, please just go to that website, and there you find a button where you can enter your name and email address, so you get on a list where I will inform you once I have set the next date. And also that's just for me the information how many people would be interested in this, and yeah, then I will inform you about when it will take place and in what shape or form, and the details. If you stay tuned, you will also get information about, and I send them to you through email if you sign up on that website. So the link is in the description. I'm really excited about this, and yeah, we will see where this is going, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I would really appreciate it, or share it with someone who might be interested. that would be also very great. And yeah, thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Goodbye.